Yeah, so you have to do it every year. We need to train you guys risk management. It's really important. It's information just about safety, for organizations in general at the University of Texas. It's a little bit long, but you'll get puckers when we're done. So just bear with us and we'll have a good time. Cool. So required safety topics that we need to talk about are possession and use of alcohol, alcoholic beverages and illegal drugs, hazing, sexual assault and harassment, fire and other life safety issues, registered student organization travel, behavior at organization events, and adoption of a risk management policy. All right, hazing prevention. Hazing defined. Hazing is defined as any intentional, knowing, or reckless act occurring on or off campus of an educational institution by one person alone or acting with others, directed against a student that endangers the mental or physical health or safety of a student for the purposes of pledging, being initiated into, affiliating with, holding office in, or maintaining membership in any organization whose members are or include students at an educational institution. But what about consent? Texas law says it is not a defense to prosecution for the offense under this subchapter that the person against whom the hazing was directed consented or acquiesced in the hazing activity. So consent doesn't matter. If you're being hazed, you're being hazed. Myths and facts about hazing. Myth: hazing is only a problem for sororities and fraternities. Fact: hazing is a societal problem and happens all over the place. Myth: eliminating hazing makes an organization just like any other social club. It will be too easy to become a member. Fact: any group that hazes its new members, that's the easy way out. It takes vision and commitment to run a good non-hazing program. Myth: a little hazing should be okay as long as there's no mean-spirited or injurious intent. Fact: regardless of intent, some group bonding activities designed to be all in good fun still may raise some serious safety concerns. Reporting obligation. According to UT Austin Institutional Rules, Chapter 16, a person must report hazing if you've been subjected to hazing or if you have knowledge of hazing activities. So if your roommate's being hazed, you have responsibility to report it. If you become aware or subjected to hazing, please report at the Office of the Dean of Students and there's your information. Aisha.
Potential consequences of hazing include individual discipline, so the Dean of Students may initiate disciplinary proceedings against a student accused of violating the hazing prohibition policy. Organizational discipline, so the Dean of Students might also initiate disciplinary proceedings against ALDPES. Criminal and civil liability. Through the criminal process, the District Attorney's Office can investigate and press charges against the organization and individuals. And individuals and the organization can be sued. Drug possession, use, and abuse. Facts about drugs at UT. In the past year, 28% of UT Austin students smoked marijuana during the last year. 31% used illicit drugs. Lifetime use, which means at least once, 44% have smoked marijuana, 7% cocaine, 7 amphetamines, 7% have used ecstasy, and 10% have used other illicit drugs. Drug problem, red flags. Life problems related to drug use, setting and exceeding limits, making promises about use and breaking those promises, lying, forgetting or denying things that happen, behaving very differently, avoiding social functions when drugs aren't available, feeling guilty, embarrassed, or remorseful about things done, said while you were intoxicated, very high tolerance. Potential affected areas: health and well-being, college education, graduate school or employment, participation in athletic activities, family, friends, and peers. Intervening and taking action. These are all the numbers you want to call whoever they are. Help a peer or friend understand and accept the nature of their relationship with drugs, ask them to address the problem, and lead them to help.
Johnny. All right, now I will be talking about alcohol use and abuse.
No.
So, alcohol overdose can occur. If there is an alcohol overdose, here's a critical medical situation. There will be someone passed out and they cannot be awakened or are semi-conscious but incoherent. They'll be vomiting without awakening, or they'll have shallow, irregular breathing, cold, clammy, pale, bluish skin, seizures, convulsion, or rigid spasms. What you should do is call 911 immediately. Put the person in the recovery position in the back maneuver. Bacchus. And then stay with the person until someone arrives. Does anyone know what the Bacchus maneuver is?
Yes. It's that team on your side, right? Yeah, I got it before orientation.
University policy clearly prohibits underage drinking and other violations consistent with state law. Students subject to discipline whether conduct takes place on or off campus, or whether civil or criminal penalties are also imposed for such conduct. Ignorance of the policy does not protect from disciplinary action. So just because you say you didn't know about this rule doesn't mean you're safe from getting in trouble. And it's important to become familiar with any UT policies, so go to healthyhorns.utexas.edu/ruleslaws.html. And there's also AMECH, which is Alcohol Medical Emergency Call for Help Free. And it's free service to currently enrolled UT students. You can avoid disciplinary action if you use this, so you won't get in trouble if you use this service because you are seeking help. And it's from the Student Judicial Services. You can also call 911 for immediate help. You'll be referred to SJS for the suspected alcohol incident afterwards. So after everyone's okay, then you'll have to go through the repercussions. And then eligible students are referred to education and consultation without formal disciplinary action if they go within their standards. Declining education or failing to comply makes you subject to formal disciplinary action, and for more information you can call this number. And so some state law issues, many students are familiar with them, but just know that underage excessive drinking and alcohol influenced drinking is not okay at all. And impaired driving is commonly problematic because you're drunk and you shouldn't be driving. And many students fail to discourage drinking and driving, so if you know like one of your friends has drank, even if he says he's fine and he's not drunk and he's completely sober after 2, 8, 12 drinks, you should definitely make sure that you have an alternative, whether that's a taxi, you get someone sober to drive and be designated driver. Bye.
Okay, I'll be talking about how to protect yourself. So some reasonable efforts you can put into this is prevent the service of alcohol to minors. This goes to like you guys and us. So yeah, have food and non-alcoholic beverages available. So if you do serve alcohol, you're not just drinking on an empty stomach. Avoid drinking games. Call for help if you need to, if there's like a fight, injury, or alcohol overdose. And provide all guests with a safe life. Oh yes, and that was alcohol. This is sexual assault now. So sexual assault is or occurs when a sexual act is directed against another person when that person has not consented, is incapable of consenting, or when the act is forced. Okay, so the differences between consent and not consent is, consent is based on choice, it's active and not passive, it's only possible when there is equal power, it's giving one's permission by actively saying yes, and it also is negotiable at each stage of intimacy. Saying yes to one sexual act does not indicate yes to everything. And consent is not giving in because of fear or coercion.
Coercion.
It's not based on manipulation, deception, or lying. It's possible when it is not possible when one person has more power. It is not clear when alcohol and drugs are involved. Substances impair our ability to consent as well as our ability to read another's signals and body language.
Okay, I'm going to talk about predatory drugs. So alcohol is the most common drug used to facilitate sexual assault, but there are also other drugs that can be slipped into your drink, such as GHB, Rohypnol, and ketamine. And these drugs affect your memory and control of your limbs and body.
Using these drugs for sex is considered sexual assault. So how can we lessen our organization's risk? So we're a dry organization, so this doesn't really apply to us, but we can designate someone to distribute alcohol at events, establish an environment that doesn't tolerate sexually predatory behaviors, and hold offenders accountable with tangible consequences. You can also intervene whenever you see questionable behavior. Now, how do you protect yourself? Also, at parties and things, bring a friend that you trust, stay with that friend the whole time, and leave with that friend. Also, watch your drink. If ever you lose sight of your drink, pour it out and get a new one. And yeah.
That is a pretty good likeness of me. So these next couple slides are basically going to give you all an idea of what is considered sexual harassment and what you can do if you are a victim of sexual harassment. I know we like to think we live in a perfect world, but sexual harassment occurs more often than you would think. Sexual harassment is defined as a form of sex discrimination that involves the imposition of an unwanted condition or requirement on the continued employment, education, or education of the victim. Two forms of sexual harassment are quid pro quo, which is where someone wants A from you, so you give them B. Right? The other thing is a hostile environment harassment. Sexual misconduct, which is related, is conduct of a sexual nature that, although is not serious or pervasive, that arises to a level of sexual harassment, but it is unprofessional and or inappropriate for the setting that you're in. These are just some statistics for you to show how prevalent sexual harassment actually is. This was a study done in 2006 by, it doesn't say, okay, it's a study, it's superficial. But yeah, this sexual harassment can not only occur on campus, but occur off campus, sporting events, and happen in the center. How to report sexual harassment? The university, prides itself as trying to, eliminate, all forms of sexual harassment on campus. So some resources for y'all, you can contact Dr. LaToya Hill or Miss Catherine Green. If not only if you're a victim of sexual harassment, but you think that your roommate, your friend, someone you sit by in class, is a victim of sexual harassment. So don't be a passive bystander. If you see something, speak up. Switching gears a little bit, we have fire and life safety. Wesley will.
I handle this. So going off on active bystanding, if you see something odd, call for help and stay calm. I mean, there's resources out there for you. Call 911 and the responding emergency personnel. And also the Office of the Dean of Students will also help you out with any emergencies that come up with you in their social call. Crime prevention. So the blue boxes on campus, they're not, hey, I don't know how to get to Burdine, can you help me out with that? That's emergency contact boxes. They're littered all throughout campus. They're really great resources. If something's off to you, if you feel like you're being followed, you can press there and call for help. Also, keep your valuables outside your car and don't forget to lock your doors. My radio in my car was stolen last semester, so it happens, example right here. Sign up for Campus Watch, great resource. Take a rape, aggression, defense program class, great resource to help you out with. And then also the University of Texas Police Department. We actually have a really good police department. It's really large. It's over kind of past the stadium. It's very big and sophisticated. We have one of the best in the nation, so great resource for us. Okay, so behavior concerns advice line, VCAL, 24 hours, 7 resource for you to call if anything's acting weird with your roommate or your friends. I mean, this is a stressful time and people can get into things that aren't very legitimate, and so there are resources for you to reach out to get help for your friends. And if you see it reported, anything odd standing out to you on campus, I mean, just be active. I mean, we can all make this place better. Anything odd, broken glass, strange odors, lights out, broken doors, and anybody that sticks out as being odd in certain places, just go and report it. More than likely it'll be helpful. Moving over to weapons, violation of that law to possess firearms without written permission from the deeded student. So if you want to carry a weapon, you have to go through that whole process. Those students and registered student organizations who wish to bring a weapon or facilitate weapons onto the UT campus must have the permission. So yeah, pretty stringent process for that to happen. So let's do that. Moving over to Brooke.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about travel, and since ALDPES doesn't do a lot of organized travel, I'm going to breeze through it, but if you have any questions, feel free to slow me down. Okay, so university travel policies, domestic, when do they apply? It applies to all travel to domestic destinations more than 25 miles away, so like San Antonio distance from the main campus that involves sponsored student organizations or enrolled students attending events or activities that are organized and or sponsored by the university. So the travel policy abroad applies, to all domestic destinations more than 25 miles away. A registered student organization requires student members to attend an activity or event. So these two policies will change what that means. All UT students, including sponsored and registered student organizations, must comply with the university travel policies for international destinations. It does not matter whether the travel is required for a member or for what purpose is your organization international travel. So you can contact the Student Activity Center for assistance with complying with the UT international travel policy. So what are the policies? What are we required to do? For the sponsored student organization travel, which is less than 25 miles away, you must complete the required paperwork and obtain pre-approval from UT administrator from sponsoring department. The international, you must complete required paperwork, obtain pre-approval from sponsoring department and UT international office. With the registered student organization travel, the domestic policy is must complete required paperwork and obtain pre-approval from student activities. International must complete required paperwork / obtain pre-approval from student activities and the UT international office if you're going abroad. General emergency procedures. If you're involved in an accident, stop immediately and call 911 or the local police. Common sense, assess the situation and render aid as appropriate. Fill out a police report, obtain the names and addresses of all witnesses. Contact your advisor, contact the Office of the Dean of Students, and those numbers are listed there. So behavior at parties or at other organization events. So this is the safety, and the NARS can talk about that.
When planning an event, this counts for all like social service, like all events that you guys go to that we host. So when planning an event, we make sure to choose events that reflect our values as an organization. We invite people that we know. We're not going to have random people come because that could be potentially risky. We don't know them. We appoint event monitors who handle emergencies if they should occur. Designated drivers if we host an event where alcohol will be served, which we don't, but if we did. Confront inappropriate behavior quickly and firmly and have a plan in place, like a plan B and a plan C and a plan D and a plan. You get the point. In case things go wrong. So, and when we're at an event, we're reflecting our own organization as officers, but you guys are also a reflection of our organization as members too. So, yeah. Theme parties. Okay. I'm not going to just read these out, but these are just questions that we all have to think about, like why this theme and if it's appropriate or not, like a toga party or I don't know, stuff like that. And could our theme not not insult, but could it be politically incorrect? Could it lead to trouble? Could it be potentially dangerous or all that? We all have to think about that. And yeah. Oh, okay. One potentially risky event that we do not have any plan of holding is a date or slave auction where people bid on someone. Yeah. It's not in the works. We're not going to have anything related to this ever, hopefully. But this is an example of an event that could be risky, and we need to manage the risk management, all that. So, yeah. It devalues a human being, making them seem like they're an item to be bought, etc., etc. Also, you don't know if someone, okay, I'm not going to use an example. I was going to say me, but no. Let's say one person bids on another person to go on a date with them. We don't know what that person is actually wanting to do, like what their intentions are. So that's another risk. And once they actually win the date, they have the right to the date. Anyway, date or slave auctions, no. Event planners. Events can be quite complex to manage. Their budgets, their seating arrangements, their volunteer trainings. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So to have an efficient event, we need to select an officer or a member or a team to take lead. They handle everything in case things go wrong and in case things are right, just everything, so that there's someone who can take responsibility. And as a good organization, we should choose someone who is qualified to handle events. So, on to Katie.
Look at my hair. I have long hair. Okay, so prohibited student conduct. I guess this is a list. Engages in harassment or discrimination against another student or employee. Damages, defaces, destroys, alters, or takes UT property without consent. Impedes or interferes with an authorized university function, such as research or teaching. Endangers the health or safety of another student or university employee. Failure to identify oneself or provide false information. Unauthorized entry into university buildings or fountains. Engages in conduct that violates federal, state, or local laws. Okay, so now we're going to go into summary. We're almost done. Yay. So here's a review. You have different campus resources available to you. We don't have any free wallet cards, do we?
You'll find them at the SSB.
Okay, so you can give free wallet cards to the SSB if you want them, which have all the numbers if you want to contact anybody. And then there's a list of the other resources. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so nobody has questions, right? We covered that pretty good. Yeah. But if you have a question, does anybody have a question? Okay.
And if you have any other questions you'd rather just ask in person, we'll be more than willing to answer them for you guys.
Yeah, we have lots of officers in this organization trained in risk management, so if you have any issues, please feel free to come to us.